Can this brand new Honda Passport Trail Sport keep up on a difficult mountain trail against the Land Cruiser?
There's only one way to find out, and that's by putting both through our typical ironclads loop.
Let's do it. Well, we have a snowstorm coming in.
Yeah, just a little bit, so we'll want to get to it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But how about we add one more obstacle and the Land Cruiser will go first. I want to do a sideways ditch crossing.
That way we can see how they articulate.
So obstacle number one is the ditch crossing.
Yeah, and for this, since this is a test mostly about articulation and not really getting in place, I went ahead and put on my rear locker.
Are you in low range as well?
I am.
Okay, so we're gonna see how the frame and the body of your vehicle actually works.
So it feels like right now I'm hanging the front at least.
Yeah, so in the front there's a little bit of, just hold right there. A little bit of space, maybe a couple of inches. Let's look at the back. Wow, dude, hold right there. It's almost on the ground. Dude, it's really good articulation.
Yeah, I've got to say, for a vehicle that doesn't have a front sway bar disconnect or anything, overall it articulates still very well.
Well, now let's see how the traction works.
Yeah, with the locker engaged, it's really going to be no issue at all, especially since that back end's doing a pretty good job of keeping contact. I didn't even have to touch the accelerator, Andre.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sweet. Should we do the Passport?
So I'm in trail mode, and that's basically all I can do.
Yeah, that's true. That IVTM4 all-wheel drive system has a pretty sweet rear diff that can send a lot of power to the rear wheel of its choosing. So it's a really good all-wheel drive system, but it's hard to compete against lockers.
And it's hard to compete against low range.
Yeah, true.
But I do have a 10-speed automatic, which means I do have a lot of gear options.
Yeah, there's quite a few ratios. And I love the tires they fitted this with, but let's see how the articulation is. Perfect. And I gotta say, even on that, the front bumper gets a little close. So I can see that your back tire's lifted. Go ahead and pull forward a little further.
Hold on a second, I have got my parking sensor going off. It feels like my rear end is in the air.
Yeah, I think it is, Andre. So no doubt, the rear tire is lifted, at least a foot. It's pretty high up. But your front so far is staying on the ground.
Can I keep going?
Yeah, keep going forward a little further. Pause there. I wonder if we can make the back end drop. It doesn't really want to do it. But if I'm looking at your front and your rear tire, how far the front is tucked and how far the rear hangs, it's not a massive difference. So it is one of the potential disadvantages of this car, and it's fully independent suspension. It works really well on the street, but it's not got the most amount of articulation.
Exactly, but also I had a little bit of slip already, but not a lot.
Yeah, so far the all-wheel drive system's actually doing really well.
Okay, well, let me see what happens now. Wow, very controlled actually.
Yeah, really good.
A little bit of slip, but very controlled.
Something that the Land Cruiser has going for it is that it is body on frame and has a solid rear axle and a rear locker, but it's let down a little bit by these very mild Yokohama Geolander tires. You can see not an aggressive tread block, so we'll see how we do as far as traction goes.
On the flip side, the Passport is a unibody vehicle, and it's got a fully independent suspension, front and rear, but the tires are fairly beefy. These are the General Grabber AT Sports, but they do have pretty decent tread, but I am worried about articulation actually. So dude, I think the most interesting part about this comparison is that the Land Cruiser is quite a bit more expensive and it has the technology to kind of back up that price.
It is, yeah.
I think.
It's got a hybrid system. It's got 326 horsepower, right?
Exactly.
And that's all pretty nice. It helps a little bit with fuel economy. There's also a really nice vehicle, the one that we're sitting in right now. I love the spec, white roof, blue exterior, brown on the interior. So it's a generally comfortable vehicle to be in, but it's got all the off-road goodies that we want as well.
Exactly. And it also, you know, like you were saying, has the solid rear axle, the lock-in differential, low range. So it's really equipped for that. I mean, the tires are so-so,
Yeah,
a little bit.
Today shouldn't be a huge issue, but one of the other things I like about this that might not seem like a major difference, 8.7 inches of ground clearance versus 8.3 on the Passport, but Toyota's pretty conservative about measuring their ground clearance.
Okay.
So the difference is noticeable between these two in their clearances.
Exactly. And you know what? Every half an inch matters when you're facing giant boulders up ahead.
Yeah, so right now we're going up the steps, and especially with that 31 degrees of approach angle, it's really no issue.
Yeah.
Low range gives me really good ability to modulate the power, so I can crawl up this as slow as I need to and have a very controlled ascent up the rocks here. No problem whatsoever.
And I didn't hear any scraping at all.
No, and not even the slightest hint of wheel slip because we're keeping traction because this articulates pretty well.
All right, so now the next obstacle in the Honda is the steps. And I gotta tell you, dude, I love the styling of both of these.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and especially with the more aggressive tire, this Passport looks really good. And even though, like we said, it doesn't have the most amount of clearance, there is some pretty good underbody protection, skid plating, and some Honda accessory rock sliders underneath our doors.
Which I plan on using, I think, right now.
I think we're going to.
And also, if you want to see kind of a snowy off-road traction video, we also did one where this Passport was up against that triple locked Bronco.
Yeah, which is not necessarily the fairest comparison, but the Passport held its own in the snow because, again, this IVTM4 all-wheel drive system does a really good job.
So I'm gonna cheat just a hair.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna go a little bit more passenger side.
I think that's a good idea because, judging by Gavin's expression, we might be close to the bumper.
Am I okay? Yeah, a camera person's facial expressions.
Not comforting. Now, obviously, there's more slip because we don't have a locker. Is it up against? Yeah, okay. So we've run out of approach.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to take a different line around.
Take a different line.
That's okay, we can get creative with our line choice.
Okay, hold on. I got this. I need to quiet down my parking sensors. Here's the thing. I love how vehicles try to be helpful.
Yeah, but in trail mode, to me it would make sense in trail mode to disable the parking sensors.
Exactly, which we're in.
Yeah.
So I just had to pick a slightly different line. There is some slip, but the system is still working.
It's true. So again, not as much articulation, and we're definitely finding that it's more easily picking up tires and struggling for traction here and there.
And I think I need to use ooh.
Yeah, I think that's that slider.
My slider, right? So I need to use a little bit more accelerator pedal than you were using, I think.
Yeah, especially because we're in first gear. Like you said, it's a 10-speed transmission, so it gives you a lot of ratios, but with no low range, you're gonna have to get deeper into that pedal to get up some of these features.
Yeah. So you know what? A tiny bit of drama, and I'm using a little bit more just selective driving, right? I'm picking my line a little bit more carefully.
Yeah, whereas in the Land Cruiser, I could kind of pick any line.
Yeah. Well, not any line, but
yeah.
but still, you were a little bit more free to pick a line you wanted.
For sure. Yeah, and a lot of that comes down to clearance. If this sat an inch or two higher, that would make a really big difference. But also part of it is the fact that this is not designed to have the most amount of articulation. Now, I would say that this Passport handles better on the street.
Yes.
It's definitely better behaved on the road where it's going to spend most of its time, but that's also reflected in its off-road performance here. Now, another major difference between these two is the approach angle. The Land Cruiser has about 31 degrees versus the Passport's 23 degrees, so there's no way this Passport's going to be doing the Razor Rocks. The Land Cruiser also has a little bit more ground clearance, around 8.7 inches versus 8.3 on the Passport. Now, right now, we're faced with two things.
Yeah.
We've got the Razor Rocks to our right, which this pretty recently just narrowly was able to get up. But for this test, well, there's no way the Passport's getting up the Razor Rocks.
No, because of the clearance problems.
And I'd rather compare these two on the exact same features so that we can actually see what the differences are.
And also we have some moisture, which makes everything more difficult.
Yeah, so this very narrowly got up the Razor Rocks. We do know it's possible. You can check out that video where we compared this to the Bronco. But for the comparison of the Passport, let's put this up this slight rock ledge, because this is going to be interesting in the Passport. I think that this little step up is going to be no problem for the Land Cruiser here. And right now I've got my center locker on. I am in the rock mode. I don't have the rear locker kicked on yet. I'll kick it on if I need it.
How's our clearance, Gavin? Are we okay?
It's close. Yeah, so even on this, our front bumper, Gavin is saying, is a little close. So in the Passport, we're going to have to take
I'm going to be nervous.
An interesting one. Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting comparison when we get the other car on this. But so far, not breaking a sweat here.
Yes, and you know what? Ever since like Land Cruiser 80 series, those big beefy trucks,
Yeah.
Toyota has had the same wheelbase, which they talked about as like the golden ratio, right? Not too long, not too short.
Yeah, so maybe there's some magic there.
There is magic because we didn't touch.
Yeah, so far so good.
So the second obstacle is the Razor Rocks, but we're doing a bypass, which is still pretty difficult.
There's some rocks stacked up right here. So if you kind of took this line around, it might be your best bet. Either that, yeah, I would go this way.
Okay, so he wants me to reposition myself towards the rocks
Nice.
that are stacked.
Yeah, start cutting toward me. Perfect.
And I'm trying 2-foot it.
Good so far. Let's see how the back end does walking up. Might use a bit more of that slider, yeah.
Is that my slider?
Yep.
That sounds crunchy.
It's putting a lot of weight on it for sure, but that's what it's there for. I don't know. What do you think, Andre? That might be our high point, unless I can stack a few rocks under this back tire.
Well, I could also go between the trees.
That's true.
Should I try that? Let me pick a different line.
Yeah, and slow on that. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
You know, Honda has an amazing power sports division. They have the new Honda Talon.
Go slow. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, there you go. You're good.
I'm looking at this giant tree
Nice.
next to me. Woohoo! Well, there was a little bit of, a lot of scraping actually.
For sure. Well, and, you know, the slider doesn't look any worse for wear. That's what it's here for. So it's a good thing that it's optioned with it.
Awesome, because it's really preventing me from damaging the door, right?
Yeah.
And my rocker panels.
No, it's a good thing, and I like that they offer that as something you can add to this car through your dealership or whatever if you plan on using it in some more rugged spots.
All right, well,
yeah,
we've made it. I mean, let's keep moving.
Let's do it.
This fully kitted out Passport Trail Sport does not have a low range transfer case, and it doesn't have a rear locking differential, but it does have this drive modes, hill descent control, and a really sophisticated IVTM4 all-wheel drive system. There are different modes. There's snow mode and trail. I'll be using trail mode for the most part. And the other benefit of this is that I have surround cameras. I have my front view, and I could see all the way around the vehicle as well. So, and I could also change it up a little bit. I could see my front tires. So I can place this vehicle very precisely because, and I need to do that because I don't have a lot of clearance.
Unlike the Passport, this Land Cruiser has a few very useful off-road features, including a full-time four-wheel drive system with a low range, which is massively helpful, a center locker, rear locker, and a few different modes that can help you out as well. Multi-terrain select and crawl control, which here on Toyotas is a very useful system, does a really great job of getting you through some tough obstacles. And for modes, we have rock, mud, sand, and auto.
So, okay, so right here in the center, the camera systems are actually about the same in the two vehicles.
Yeah, and pretty high def.
Yeah.
We've got a decent looking image there, and we've got our inclinometers as well, which is all really nice.
This screen, though, for the cameras is a little bit larger than the Hondas, but I think both of them work really well. We could see the side of each tire, and we could see up front as well.
It's good info.
Yeah. So we call this obstacle Truth or Dare, and I think we're gonna dare it today.
For sure, yeah, we'll take the most challenging line we can. I'm even planning to nose up to this rock up to our left.
Yes.
Which is a spot that'll help us get a little more articulated, but I'm gonna get Gavin to make sure that we're not gonna run the front bumper into it.
Yes.
Because, like we mentioned, this is a pretty expensive vehicle. It's about $70,000.
Yeah. Almost 71, right?
Jamming the painted parts into rocks is
or
not,
even non-painted parts for that matter.
But using the camera systems, I can watch it as we approach. Gavin, let me know if it looks like my bumper is gonna hit this rock.
Okay. You're good.
So far, sounds like we're...
Yeah,
It's gonna hit?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Okay.
So we don't have quite the approach angle to go up that rock, at least heading straight on. So we'll just drive around it for now.
Ooh, you know what? I was hearing your traction system, dude.
Yeah, just a little bit. I can hear it as well. It's grabbing a bit of brake to keep us going. Because at the moment, once again, I still don't have my rear locker switched on. It's not necessary. The traction control system works really well on this. So unless you're on a more challenging obstacle, you really don't need it.
Exactly. And also, you see a lot of new Land Cruisers around, right? They're selling a lot of them. They're about 4,000 a month in the country of US. And I see a lot of people lifting these. Well, given it in a slightly larger tire.
Even, oh yeah, I've seen them on 37s, which might not be the best idea.
Our friend Steve, I think he's putting them on portals now.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It gets you a lot of clearance, that's for sure.
So I think it could use a little bit more clearance.
Yeah, it's not tons, but it is a good platform to build a even more capable 4x4 off of. So right now, just a tiny bit of slip, but you stay on the throttle, and it's got no problem sorting it out. So of course the lockers work really well, but so does the traction control here. And this is just an example of how easy this section of trail can be if you have a vehicle that's capable enough, even in stock form.
But this is slick rock now, dude. Do you think we can make it?
Yeah, we got a tiny little stretch of some rock.
Outcropping?
And it is getting a bit of moisture, but no problem at all,
No
Andre.
issues, my gosh.
And thanks to the fact that we do have a low range, I'm not having to get super heavy into the pedal. Just a tiny little bit of RPM gets you crawling right up these rocks because you've got a lot of ratio to work with.
Exactly. So the next obstacle is true for dare. Ooh. And once again, we're gonna do dare.
For sure, yeah, we're gonna challenge this a little bit. And I think that this section of the trail represents some of the most challenging terrain that most Passport buyers are going to be looking to tackle.
Yeah.
Because this vehicle, to be fair to it, is not really designed to be a Wrangler or a Bronco competitor or a 4Runner or Land Cruiser competitor. It's more so designed to be rugged enough to get you to whatever trailhead you want to go mountain biking or climbing or fishing or whatever it is that you're going to be doing. And to that, it is pretty successful. I mean, we're getting to the top of the trail.
Yeah, we are. We need a little bit extra time, maybe a tiny bit extra time, because I need to line up and then I need to maybe bump over it.
Just that front tire struggling for traction right there.
Okay.
But yeah, if you back up and roll into it a little. There we go. Nice. Woo! Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for a vehicle in this category to get through stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Dude, if Honda, this is a 2026 model, right? They had them in 2025 as well.
Yeah.
But if they, in a year or two, if they actually do a factory kit, like a lift kit for this, this could make a huge difference, actually.
Well, I love the idea of this because to date, this is kind of Honda's most rugged on-road vehicle they've offered. And Honda is huge in the power sports space. Dirt bikes, side-by-sides, ATVs, everything you can think of. So I would love it if they keep pushing further in this direction. So I want to encourage vehicles like this because I think it's moving the right way. And this is absolutely as rugged as 99% of people need. If your idea is you're going to spend most of your time on the street and go to the occasional rugged campsite, then this is definitely capable of getting you all the places you want to go. But at the same time, it wouldn't be the first pick for a trail-specific vehicle if that's something you do a lot in your free time.
Exactly, but we're still doing it, dude. All right, now the final challenge, a little bit of slick rock. I'm getting a little bit more accelerated than maybe you did, but once again, it climbed it.
Yeah, so overall, the Passport is definitely not as capable as the Land Cruiser, but it is as capable as the majority of people would need it to be.
Exactly. Well, let's get to our final verdict, shall we? All right, so the bottom line is the Passport Trail Sport is not quite as capable as that Land Cruiser.
No, there's a noticeable difference in the off-road capability of the two in stock form. This Land Cruiser, if you're planning to go do trails, even semi-regularly, this is going to be much, much better, but it's also quite a bit more expensive. $70,000 versus how much for the Passport?
About $54,000 and change. So for about $16,000 difference, I could buy a small trailer.
Yeah.
Maybe I can put a Honda dirt bike on it, or maybe a small side-by-side from Honda. You could do a lot with that $16,000.
That's true. And since we're not sponsored by Honda or Toyota, it could be any brand of side-by-side or dirt bike.
I'm just saying that Honda has other products.
It'd be nice synergy. Yeah, I agree. So either way, they're both good vehicles. Definitely the Land Cruiser more capable. Passport arguably more comfortable on the road, possibly better value.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time at oldtfl.com.